All right. Good evening, Craig. We are
How's it going?
back at
How's
it
it
one
going?
more time. You got me. Can you
What's
hear me
that?
good?
Yeah,
I just
man, I
want to
hear
make sure
you
you can
good.
hear me okay. All right, y'all. Rough week this week. I told somebody that the LSU game was upsetting. The Georgia Tech game was heartbreaking, and to me, this game was demoralizing. Um,
Oh,
what do you think, Craig? I mean, you know,
man, I said we're gonna put 42 on them.
yeah,
Wrong, wrong. You know, man, it's not because of lack of talent.
that's right. I feel the same way. Um, I just don't. I've talked to several people over the last couple of weeks, and you and I have talked about this too. Not just on the show, but you know, I don't. I can't put a finger on it.
Nope.
It almost feels like we've got a bunch of eyes on our team. Um, even though you hate to have to admit that. Um, you know, especially with the way that Dabo has carried himself. He's carried this or the way he's I don't say carried, the way he's built this program. Um, you know, we haven't had to deal with all that too much. And is it because of NIL? Is it because of the transfer portal? I mean, I don't know. I mean, you know,
Yeah. Um, Hard to put a finger on it. It's like I said, it's not because of a lack of talent. Of course, you know, I probably, like most fans do, we immediately go to the Clemson websites and message boards just to kind of get ideas. We read what these sports writers um, say,
yeah,
and I think there's a mixture of what everybody says, and I'm going to tell you what I mean by that. Um, a lack of want to. I think one sports writer for Clemson said that it looks like he could tell the ones that want it, the ones that don't want it. I'm not going to call any of these players out, but
yeah,
you can kind of tell. You have expectations from certain players, and certain players have not performed up to standard in four
oh,
games on
yep.
both sides of the ball.
And you said it best. All 4 games,
Yep.
all 4 games. I mean, we've seen teams. You and I both have seen teams that would come out and look rough against an LSU, look rough against an ACC opponent. Um, I do believe this is the first time, and don't get me wrong, I know that we looked bad against Troy, in 2016 when we won the national championship. But here's the thing: that team seemed to come out after that game, inspired and ready to get. And I don't know. I just didn't even see it against Georgia Tech, man. I mean, it's it, I don't know.
It,
It's disheartening.
it is. It really is. And, a lot of fans, like we kind of touched on last week, are jumping ship and calling for Coach Sweeney's head and um, want him fired, which I think that's laughable. Now,
Yeah,
is it Coach Sweeney's responsibility what's happening? Absolutely. But, I mean, I told you before, I'm big on numbers and stats, but I'm also big on history. I love history.
yeah,
And history shows that Coach Sweeney knows what he's doing.
right,
He's got the right formula for success.
yep,
In this day and age, I believe I'm not even going to count the transfer portal and the reason I'm not going to count the transfer portal is because the talent that's on Clemson's football team right now
hmm,
is top tier. I'm
yeah,
not going to say elite because I can't say that because they've not performed to those standards, but it's top tier talent is
hmm,
there.
oh yeah,
Um, he's just got to find a way to get his grip back on this team, bring them back together. I saw one sports writer said that there's a slim chance now for an ACC championship, and even slimmer chance to make the playoffs.
Yeah.
And that's probably true.
Oh yeah.
Probably true.
The only way that we make the playoffs at this point is if somehow, some chance, we end up having, something happen like last year. And those don't happen every year, and usually don't happen 2 years in a row.
That's right.
Especially not as strong as Miami looks right now. Georgia Tech looks, unstoppable. Now, hey, can it happen? Yeah. Okay. And we've seen Dabo, a lot of people that I talked to said that last year was Dabo's best coaching, of his career. I don't know. Maybe,
Yep.
Nobody expected us to make it to the playoffs, and definitely nobody expected us to, do what we did, even though we lost.
That's right.
We showed promise. And that's the sad part about that is I'll tell you, I hate it for Antonio Williams. He is the one guy that I hate it for because, he could have gone to the pros. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And he decided to come back, and you won't convince me it was because of money as much as it was, he wanted to go out on a winning note. And to just his luck, he hurt 5 plays into the first game. By the time he comes back, we're fighting for our playoff lives, our ACC lives, and everything else. So,
Yep. One thing that I've noticed a lot of in these games is mistakes on both, really, all 3 phases. And Cade isn't the Cade of last year. Cade is the Cade of 2 seasons ago.
Exactly right.
Our wide receivers have a case of the dropsies.
Mm-hmm.
Several passes that should have been caught aren't getting caught. I'm on some of this play calling on the offensive side. Man, you got Adam Randall. I want to say he averaged eight yards a carry.
Yeah, it was between 8 and 9 yards a carry yesterday.
And I'm gonna bring this up real quick. 8.1 yards a carry, and he only ran the ball 16 times. And he still had 130 yards. He only ran the ball 16 times. And get this. Guess how many other running backs, how many carries they had?
How many?
0. No other running back had a carry.
Well, and Daryl, I'm gonna add on to that. You got 3rd and 2, 3rd and 1, and you fake a pitch, or you fake a pitch, and have the quarterback run up the middle, get stopped. All right. 4th and 2, you keep in mind now this is the second half. All right, 4th and 2, you decide to run a pass play. I have no answers for that.
We talked about that last week, Freddie.
Yeah.
Remember
all right, here,
the interception on the 2-yard line, the little throw?
Yep.
But, all right, and I'm sorry to interrupt, but I want to throw this before I forget it. Remember, me and you both were calling. What about the jumbo package? They did the jumbo package on the 4th down and handed it off to Peter Woods, and he got the freaking 1st down, got 2 yards.
Yep.
Wow. You want your offensive lineman to be physical, you're going to get them physical in that run game.
Well, here's the thing. Here's what's so bad. We didn't even need the jumbo package. They had not stopped him all day long.
Randall.
Right? And here's my thing. I don't get me wrong. I understand if you want to pass one of those downs, 3rd down, you pass on 3rd down because then you can go to your bell cow on 4th down and pick up those yards.
That's right.
I don't know. I'm at a loss. I've been at a loss since probably started the third quarter yesterday.
Oh yeah,
I felt like we still had a chance going into the third quarter. I felt good. And
absolutely.
you've known me long enough to know I am a positive person through and through.
Yep.
And I sit, whether we're losing or winning, I sit in the stands until that last buzzer sounds. That's just always been my way of doing things. Have had some people get kind of upset with me. And by the way, I got to do this. I apologize I should have done this to start with. I want to give a shout out to my wife tonight because today is her birthday, and
Birthday, Liz.
she actually allowed me to do this podcast and take out a little bit of time that we're doing with it away from her, and then I'm going to spend the rest of the night with her. So, happy birthday to my wife.
Happy birthday.
Um, but I mean, she's gotten upset with me. My cousin's gotten upset. I've had family members get upset with me because, hey, we're up by 40 points, Freddie. Why? That's just not the way I do things. And yesterday it felt like even if I'd have been in the stands, I'd have been sitting there, agonizing, I guess you could say. That one hurt. That one really did hurt. So, now,
big time.
like we've talked about before, all right, it's Sunday. It's time to move on. We're going into a bye week. I guess the question right now is where do we go from here? Or where do the Tigers go from here? And what as fans can we expect, I guess? Because we've been completely off on most everything we thought
We ain't experts.
No. Do not use our picks and our predictions to your bet. Okay.
No.
Well, unless you're going opposite of us, we're definitely not hitting on it this year.
Well,
but
I'm going to tell you, Freddie, going into this bye week. Well, let me back up. I want to go back in our very first podcast. We were talking about trap games. And if I'm not mistaken, you said that Syracuse was the trap game. Am I right or wrong? I think you did.
Right. Yep, I did.
And if I'm not mistaken, I also when we looked at the schedule, I also said Georgia Tech's going to be a tough game too.
That's right.
And so we ain't totally wrong.
No.
I mean, we were right about Georgia Tech. We were right about Syracuse. We weren't expecting L's on those, but anyway.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, I wasn't expecting an L. I wasn't expecting an L in either one of them. But and on top of that, I was not expecting to get dominated like we did yesterday.
Well, you're right.
Go ahead.
I'm glad you said that. Stats. Let's run through these real quick since you talked about getting dominated. Now, numbers, and it's always been said, numbers don't lie. Yeah. Guess what? The numbers lied to us this time.
They lied yesterday.
Now, Clemson had 503 yards of total offense, 363 yards passing, 140 yards rushing. And anybody would love to have that, over 500 yards. But no points were produced.
Nope.
That's strange.
Well, I mean, remember, what does it remind you of? Does it not remind you of the Duke game at the beginning of the season?
Yep. Was that 2 years ago?
Yeah.
2 or 3 seasons back. Yep. Very first game of the season.
I mean, even Dabo mentioned in his press conference that week that if you look at the stats, we win the ball game on paper, but you got to finish. And you said, I think it was you that said it earlier in a conversation, got to finish.
Yep.
And that's the whole thing. I mean, you can put all the numbers out that you want, but if the number on that scoreboard isn't in your favor at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter.
That's right.
I mean, if I'm not mistaken, it was similar to that against Georgia Tech.
Oh yeah. Well, we play better when we're playing behind.
Oh well, this year you really can't go by that because we've been playing behind for pretty much the whole game,
Right.
every game. I would like to see us play a little ahead. Now, don't get me wrong. I know we went up on Georgia Tech, and I understand that, but overall, we've been behind more than we've been ahead this season. But
right.
And I'm gonna tell you, yesterday, it wasn't. We've talked about this all season long. Every podcast we've had, it hasn't been just one thing. I mean, yesterday you have a guy that they kicked the ball off, and he's already got his head turned, and even the announcers are saying you got to keep your head turned until that ball's kicked because of what could happen, and it did happen. They saw that on film. You won't convince me they didn't see that our guys were already leaving early on kickoffs. What happens? We give up an onside kick later in the game. We punt the ball. It comes down perfectly right there at the goal line. And what does our guy do? He doesn't tap it back out. He doesn't try. He catches it, comes down in the end zone, and then throws it back out. I mean, these are mistakes that a veteran team like we've seen or we've got this year, you shouldn't have to worry about that stuff out of. But it's just, I don't know. There's just a lack of focus, and you said it earlier. It is Dabo's place to. I mean, it's his job to get this stuff done, and I agree with that. There are a lot of things that you can't fix by a coach coming in. I mean, I can come to you and go, Craig, this is what I need you to do. And you can look at me and go, Freddie, I got you. And then we come on this podcast and we go the whole podcast and you don't do any of that. We talked about it.
Yep. And that's what's happening.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many scratch your head plays that we've seen. Like, what was that? I mean, and you know what? It's equal because it's players making mistakes and then play calls also.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's all filtering in. I mean,
everything's real vanilla. I don't know. It's strange. I don't know. Man, look here. I'd like to get paid a couple million to go up there and make some play calls.
Yeah. I mean, hey,
because it wouldn't.
You got to give me 11 million.
Yeah,
I'll do half that. Hey, I'll do it for a third of that.
That's right. I mean, that's my little jab there. But in the defense, look here. The defense was supposed to be our strong point this year because preseason accolades, rat poison. Here we go. Yep. Peter Woods, T.J. Parker, Terrell. Who else? Seems like there's a fourth one. That they're talking about being first round draft picks in the NFL.
Yep.
Okay. You mean where's that at?
I saw a milk carton earlier and it had on T.J. Parker's name and picture on it. That's my jab. I'm sorry. I mean, he has been a total disappointment, and I don't and we talked about not calling players out, but if you look at it, and he yesterday, I mean, he just whizzed on a tackle, and I hate it for him too because he came back to what I'm saying. We brought in help to try to help him out, and this was his chance to make some make money, and I don't know.
His help has helped him. Will help.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the man. That is our defensive star, a transfer.
Yep.
The transfer portal is our defensive star this year so far.
And sadly enough, and I don't want to go. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and put this out there. Okay. All right. They wanted Dabo to use the transfer portal. He doesn't use it. He doesn't like it. He hates it. He never uses it. All right. Well, he brought in 3 this year. Okay. All right. One of the 3 has, like you just said, been a star on defense. Okay. I think Alexander has held his own. I think Tristan Smith, when he's been out there, has held his own. Now, I don't quite understand why Tristan Smith hasn't been out there more. But I mean, I'm not saying that was wrong. I just know, you know what I'm saying?
No.
With that room, it's kind of hard. I understand.
Yeah. Well, that's another one of scratch your head deals. Like, these dudes, and I don't remember what sports writer, but one said, Tristan Smith, when he's out there, you could tell he wants it and he's playing hard. Why hasn't he been played more? Same with Alexander. They're out there play. Give these, if these dudes are making a few $100,000, $1 million, whatever they're making, and they're not performing, let them sit down.
Look, I don't, and they may get upset, but I don't. I mean, it'd be a lot easier to be
win
upset.
now.
Well, here's the thing: it'd be a lot easier to be upset sitting there making that money still, and put somebody out who can win, man.
Yeah.
But at the same time, what I was about to get to too was, all right, the Dabo's argument about not liking the portal. I get it. I understand you don't want to mess with, and you have to be careful who you're bringing in. I get that, but when you bring Will Held in, that does not help your argument as to we don't need the portal, or this and that about the portal. Now, with that being said, I want to make sure I step back and make sure I say I don't agree with the majority of these people that are yelling, oh, he needs to adapt to the portal. He brought in 3 from the portal, okay, just this year on a team that was really supposed to already have a bunch of talent, right? So, it's not like you're, Duke, where you're having to bring talent in because there wasn't talent there, okay? And Duke's done well with it. South Carolina's done well with the portal. All right.
Every team's done well with the portal.
Exactly. But keep in mind, that's where I feel like that the evening out has happened, and the portal has caused that. But at the same time, I don't know.
I tell you what I think, and you're right, but it's a combination of the portal and NIL together, because I think that the transfer portal was designed for these student athletes if they weren't happy out of school, or to be able to get out and not have to wait that 1 year for the eligibility. I think that was the purpose of that. But now the transfer portal is being used for these top players are chasing that money. They'll go to another school just to chase that money. They aren't using it to their benefit as a football player. They're using it as a football player making money. That's what they're using that portal for. And everybody else is using it to their advantage. I don't know this. I don't know any of the numbers on how many like Syracuse, for example, how many transfer players they have. But, and I will say this real quick, I believe in what Coach Sweeney is wanting to do with his program as far as the portal goes. He believes in developing his players, recruiting top talent, developing that top talent, and using the portal for needs that, for example, defensive end.
Yeah.
Was a need that Clemson had to fill, and we got a good one. That's I believe in that. I mean, that's a perfect example of how I think that portal should be used. It wasn't used for money. It was used for a need that Clemson had. And the players that up until this season, you know what? Nobody's had any complaints about the way he's handled the portal. No, Clemson fans, I say none. Some have.
Yeah.
But, I mean, his formula works. I don't know what's happened this year. I'm still up in the air about both coordinators. I don't know.
Well, and you and I've talked about it. I have not been impressed with Riley. I'm still giving Allen the benefit of the doubt because this is his first year, and we're 4 games in, and like we talked about yesterday, it you know when you put the players where they're supposed to be and they don't make the plays, you don't say, and that's bothersome, to say
Yep,
the
it
um,
is.
and
But that's
so
also coaching.
true.
If you're putting them where they're supposed to be and they aren't there, he's not on the field to be able to coach them up.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to tell you one thing that's missing on defense
Okay.
is, and I hate to keep saying it, but the intensity that Brent Venables brought to the Clemson defense
Mm-hmm.
is second to none.
Oh yeah.
And Tom Allen has that same intensity, but those players can't feel that and see that intensity when he's way up in that box calling plays. I would love let him have. He would need to get that guy too. He's that
Well,
guy.
and I understand that, and I guess my thing there too though is that's the way he did it at Penn State, and it worked. I don't know why. I don't understand. You see what I'm saying? I mean, it just doesn't. I don't know. Something's just not.
Well, Clemson and these players are used to having their defensive coordinator on the field.
Yeah,
And and I'm
but
going to say this: this is Tom Allen's first season, and it's 4
yeah,
games in. But I mean, we've gotten worse. Defense has gotten worse.
and
We gave what was it?
else. Well, I asked somebody else this same question. All right, is it? I guess what I'm getting at is we went from, if I'm not mistaken, we went from the 4-3 to the
No,
4
4-2-5.
5. Okay. All right. And my question is does that have something to do? You see what I'm saying? In other words, all right, is it a matter of these players are used to playing a different way and he's bringing his and I guess that was the whole thing. We were kind of told in the beginning that this was going to be a work in progress. But we were also told to expect, they were going to work on tackling. They were going to work. All right. Now, the tackling has not gotten all that much better. And we both know that. All right.
Oh, no,
But
it's
is the
worse.
other stuff, I guess what I'm asking, did we expect too much too soon?
No.
Okay.
And I'll say this: Clemson's defense is far from a work in progress. I mean, because you look at the players that are on that field. All right, we're gonna start with T.J. Parker has been the ones that we were talking about. You got T.J. Parker, you got Peter Wood, you got DeMonte Capehart, Stephen Green, um, Will Helt, Sammy Brown, who was a 5-star
Yep.
recruit, top linebacker in the nation. Wade Woodaz is what, a 2-3 year starter. Then
Yep.
you look at the secondary, and you've got Terrell back there that's a 3-year starter. He was a starter as a freshman. You
Yep.
got Ashton Hampton on the other side. You've got Khalil Barnes, who's a 5th-year senior. There's talent all over that field.
Oh,
And
and I
they
agree.
held their own last year. And the reason we got Allen in was because they should have been better than what they were last year. But they're worse than what they were last year
All right.
as a whole.
Well, and I agree. We're in agreement on that part. What I'm asking though is, all right, when you bring in a new defensive coordinator, and he brings in his scheme and his way of doing things. You see what in other words, what I'm getting at is with them changing things over and changing things throughout, that is what I'm wondering about them claiming that it was going to be a work in progress. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Not the talent, because we both know that the talent has been there. Okay. All right. And yeah, we both agree that it should have been better last year. And it's amazing to me the drop off that took place from year before last to last year. If you remember, Wes Goodwin's defense was in the top 10, 15 year before last. All right. If I'm not mistaken. All right.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden, just like he drove it off a cliff. All right. The couldn't tackle. They couldn't, and I guess that's what I'm getting at. I'm wondering if not talent wise, not even basing it on that, basing it more on it's actually taking more to get his scheme implemented into what we're doing. Because I can't remember. I know we went to the same defense a couple of years back when Wes Goodwin took over because of the issues we were having. I want to say we were having issues with either passing or running. I can't remember which one it was, and we had to go to that. But we went back away from that because of, if I'm not mistaken, and I may be wrong. I don't quote me on that one. I may be totally off on that. It just seems like I remember that.
Yeah. I think Goodwin ran a 4.25 also.
But I was thinking he did. And I was thinking that, that happened after Venables left because we were having, all right, the first year his defense was having issues with either the passing game or the running game. And we had to change to this one to make up for that. And it was almost like we went from one end of the spectrum to the other. So,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I know. I know. Looking at, I was kind of reviewing some of the stats, and as we were talking, Syracuse had 435 yards offense against Clemson.
Okay.
435 yards. That's giving up a pile.
That's not elite by any means. That's not even good.
But they scored 34 points. Was it 34?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the week before, they played Colgate, not the toothpaste.
Had to warn me before I start drinking that you're gonna do that.
And they had 620 yards against them. We scored 66 points. So
lightning toothpaste.
That's right. Yep. But
extra clean. Yeah,
they've got a pretty good offense, but
he's like second. I don't know whether you saw or not, but he tore his Achilles in the game yesterday. Their quarterback did, man. I know you join me whenever I say we're praying for a full recovery, man, because that kid has. I mean, he's got massive talent. He was like second in the NCAA in passing, I would say, when he came into Clemson.
Yeah. So, but I think Coach just needs to get a grip back on his team. I wasn't there, but I was told that they could tell that they were off running down the hill. You could tell, you can kind of see no fire.
Yep.
And Coach, I still have full confidence and faith in him. He's gonna turn it back around. Nope. Last week I was saying we still have a lot to play for, and we did.
Yep.
That was a big game Saturday, and we failed. But you know what? We could still salvage the season.
That's
and
right.
There's a bunch of hard teams ahead of us. Florida State's on fire.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But we can still salvage this season and make it good.
This way. And I don't mean to cut you off, but I want to throw this out there. I head down the road because I have not had to do this very often, but one of my best friends, Petey, was a huge Florida State fan. Was dealing with kidney issues and and ended up getting to take him to a Florida State game at Clemson, and we won. But he and I come up with a bet that whoever's team won, the opposing, if Florida State won, I had to wear a Florida State hat anytime I wasn't in uniform. The rest of the, from that Sunday or that Saturday, until the following game. All right. I can honestly tell you that he never saw me wear a Florida State hat as long as he was alive. But I have I have upheld that bet since his passing, just in memory of him. And I am direly hoping that I don't end up on this podcast wearing a Florida State hat the Sunday after our Florida State game. Okay. So, and you were saying we still got a lot to
There's
play
an unwritten rule.
Yeah. But back to what you were saying. You were saying we've still got a lot to play for, and I agree with you.
Well, you know what? They need to play number one for themselves. They need to play for their teammate that's lining up next to them. That's that pride they need to do for the pride of that Paul that's on the side of their helmets. They need to do it for the fans, for the family and their fans. But they mostly need to just say, you know what? Enough's enough.
That's right.
It's time. I mean, it ain't too late to have a good season and still play Clemson football. We're not playing Clemson football right now. I expect for some of these players to man up and have a senior meeting and take control of this team again.
Yeah. Well, about a month ago, maybe a little over a month ago, we were sitting here, couldn't wait for this season to get here. And the thing is, if you listen to a lot of fans right now, the season ended yesterday. And I'm like, it's not over by any stretch of the means. Lewis Riddick said it best yesterday during the end of the game. He said, "What this is now is gut check time, because he said even if you're the ACC championship's out the window, even if the playoffs are out the window, now you play for pride." And you play for your coaches. Like you just said, everything you just said is pretty much what he was saying yesterday. And I'm in total agreement there, man.
It's BYOG time.
There you go.
For the season, not for a game, it's for the rest of the season to, you know what? And I'm going to say it, to save face for Clemson football.
Exactly.
Because Clemson football is better than what's been shown on that football field. I'm going to say all 4 games, because we struggled against Troy too.
Yeah. We have not seen a good game. We've not seen a good 4-quarter game out of Clemson this season.
Nope. And I'm going to say this. I know he'll probably never see this or hear this, but Coach Sweeney, me, and Freddie Huth would be more than happy to come and give a pregame speech. You name the game, we'll be there.
That's right.
I don't care what team it is. Let us come up in there. We'll get those boys fired up, ready.
Telling you. I totally agree. You know I do. But we have about running out of time here. Another week is here's the thing. Even on a disappointing week, remember, it can always be worse, because, and I'll tell you how, it could always be worse because we could be Gamecock fans. All right. And they lost too.
Yep.
Matter of fact, they might have gotten dominated 2 weeks ago worse than we did yesterday by Vanderbilt.
Yep. And I'm going to say this. I think both Gamecock fans and Tigers fans put a W beside both teams at both these past.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Vanderbilt and Missouri, Carolina fans, check mark. That's a W. Clemson, Georgia Tech, and Syracuse, we put a check mark on it too. Gut check time for them too. And they've got a pretty good football team. This might be what football's all about. I don't know.
Well, and I talked to a Gamecock buddy of mine before the season ever started, and we were talking about it, and both of us were in agreement that, it was interesting with the preseason hype that we very well could see a game this year where both teams are, vying for a playoff spot, and both teams are in the top, of the rankings, and and here we are. So,
hey, just think, both teams were, I think, just a week ago, 2 weeks ago, Clemson was 11th, South Carolina was 10th. Somewhere, we're both top 15 teams.
Yep.
Now we ain't nowhere to be seen in the rankings.
No.
That's where the gut check time is for both teams. You know what? I'm gonna
Now
say this.
who shows up?
I want Carolina to win every single game except that last game. And the reason I want them to win because the more they win, and when we beat them, it makes us look better.
Exactly.
And I know they think vice versa. You know?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But
so
yep. But hey, gut check time, Freddie.
Yeah.
I'm still a fan. I wore my orange and purple. Got my Tiger Paw hat on. I kept the same clothes on I had on yesterday after the game. I kept them on. My Clemson shoes, my Clemson shirt. Hey, we lost, but you know what? I'm still a fan, and I'm still going to pull for my team. And one more thing I wanted to say. When Clemson plays that last game, of the season, I'm already in anticipation of the first game of the following season. And you and I are alike. We follow recruiting. We follow all the preseason stuff, spring ball, summer workouts, fall ball. I'm still all in. I'm a Tiger fan for life, win or lose. We've been through losing seasons.
That's right.
We've been through worse than this.
Oh yeah. Well, and just like the Tigers, we're not going to take off next week. They're going to be working through the bye week. We'll be working through the bye week. We'll be back on here next Sunday at 7:00 to talk about what we found out this week, and we'll look ahead to our next opponent and see where we're headed there.
You know what, Freddie?
Yeah,
I'm gonna throw something out there. I've got a buddy of mine that lives in Manning, a former Clemson football player, and I'm gonna reach out to him this week and see if we might get Brian Mance to join us and give us a former player's perspective. And I know Brian, he's not gonna dog the team. I've seen some former players have dogged him a little bit. Some have just spoken up what we've said, which is perfectly fine. I mean, they got more at stake at this than we do.
I love Brian, man. Brian is a good guy. Matter of fact, he signed a mini helmet for me whenever I was the SRO down at DC, and it was funny because I had talked to him and his wife about it, and I was doing my job, and he was trying to get to me to get a helmet for me, and I'm like, man, I don't worry about that. I'll get it to you.
Brian Mance is a fine man. He is a good man, good Christian man too.
Yep. But all right, y'all. We'll wait to see whether Craig can get that done. And also, if you liked our program, we ask that you go and like the Facebook page. It's the same name as our podcast, and also go out and hit the like and share button on our YouTube page. Also, as we've been doing recently, we want to thank Jason Priester for all his help. He's been kind of guiding us, trying to get us on the right path.
JP
started. Yep. Y'all definitely go to the ClemsonInsider.com and get your information, because those guys are on the ball. Well, guys and ladies are on the ball over there. I'm telling you.
They are.
And matter of fact, I enjoy his podcast every Monday. That's I look forward to that tomorrow night. See what he's got to say about this past week. But anyway, y'all have a good one. As always, all God's children said, "Go Tigers."
Go Tigers. Bye.